I would like to call the meeting to order this morning and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Inuit, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Brent McIntyre, and I'll be chairing the hearing today. To my left is Linda McFadden, and to her left is Doug Marks. Our assessor for the hearing today is Ken Wong, and our administrative personnel is Jaswinder Kumar. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessment of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1 through 8 on the docket today. Mr. Kumar, please affirm the assessor's and applicant's testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Ken Wong.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please state your do you state your full name?
Ryan Oliveros.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you. The first property on the docket today is 2000 St. Mary's Road, and I will do this for every property. Is there any preliminary issues on this, Ken?
No.
Brian? Okay, Ken, you can make your presentation.
The subject property is 2000 St. Mary's Road. The roll number is 080-211-330. I'm sorry, 33300. I'm going to say that again. 080-211-33300. It's a residential apartment block that's 4 stories high. It was built from 2014 to 2018. It happened in a few phases. There are 425 suites with 406 outdoor parking stalls and 80 indoor parking stalls. On page 3 is the picture of the subject property with its location. It's located in the south end of the city. On page 4 are some interior photos of the subject property. We use average rents of $1,704 to get a potential income of $8,692,000. We use a 3.2% vacancy to get an effective gross income of $8,414,000. And we use a 37% expense ratio to get a net operating income of $5,251,000. Capped at 4.8%, we have an estimated market value of $109,409,000. On page 6 are some rent comparables. showing that the rents we've used are in line with what's in the market. On page 7 is a summary of the subject property income and expenses. Their income for 2020 was $9,020,000. Their expenses less mortgage expense is $3,482,000, giving an NOI of $5,537,000. The model is at $5,251,000. So that's the actual NOI is about $286,000 higher than what the model is estimated. So I believe that the actual performance supports the model. On page 8 is information on how we derived our cap rates. On page 9 are some cap rate sales. On page 10 is some Altus cap rate information. This is their national trend, which encompasses, I guess, all of Canada. But in 2017, their indicated cap rate was 4.5%, and in 2020, their indicated cap rate is 4.3%. On page 11 is their indicated cap rate for Winnipeg for 2017, which is 4.5%. This chart for Winnipeg only goes up to 2017, but it seems to be identical to what the national trend is. So I think the national trends indicates that it's going down. So I think you could say that the Winnipeg trend is going down as well. On page 13 is the income statement supplied by the owner. So like I said, the actual net operating income is about $286,000 higher than the model, which in this case it supports it more than supports the model, and the model cap rate is supported by the market. So I ask that you maintain the assessed value at $109,410,000.
And that concludes your presentation.
Yes.
Thank you. Brian, any questions?
Yes, I have rebuttals to submit that's ready to go here, but it has to do with my questioning. So wondering how the best way to go about that would be.
We'll question him based on his evidence. And then you can make your presentation and then rebuttal.
Gotcha. The questions are really directly related to this. So maybe if I could just, I guess, speak to the material of my questioning, and then we wouldn't have to really bother with the evidence. Yeah.
Do you have the rebuttal?
No, they didn't submit it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would have to get submitted before then, or?
No, you can submit it right now, but after your questioning.
Okay. Sounds good.
Like after your questioning and the evidence.
Well, and we won't have it electronically.
Yeah, I have to scan it.
Oh, I have the email ready to go, so I can just send it to the VOR right now.
Yeah. Okay. The lookings.
Yes.
Okay, so So I'm just turning to your cap rate evidence on page 9. I see our NOIs are actually very close, or well, we are actually at a higher NOI than what the city has applied here, so I'll skip over that. So going again to page 9 of your brief here. 2390 McPhillips, I'm sure you're already aware of this. Have you heard of the listing brochure for this property that lists the stabilized NOI for this project at $970,869, which would essentially put the cap rate at 5%. And again, that's again a sell price of 19,400,000.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, I think the listing indicated the NOI, but it also indicated the cap rate being 4.75%. And I don't know, typically from what I've seen in listings, these tend to be a little bit optimistic in terms of, or they paint maybe a more positive, a positive picture of their financial than what might actually be. So I'm thinking that if they're listing it at if they're indicating that the cap rate is 4.75%, then it might actually be a little bit lower than that. But even then, it seems to be the 4.75% that they've indicated is in line with the 4.79 that we've calculated.
But the final sell price of the of 2390 McPhillips there is 19,400,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so according to the IWAO standards, are assessors permitted or precluded from using share sales in their reports?
I'm not sure.
510 Bernal, I guess we can really find that on land titles here. So we're assuming that's a share sale?
It is possible, but as far as I can tell, with regards to share sales and being used, they are used in appraisals and actually the sale that Altus has used in the past in terms of 333 Ward is also a share sale. So I mean, I feel if the sale price is accurate, and if we apply the income and expenses against that, then I believe that the cap rate is accurate.
700 St. Mary's, can we assume that that's a share sale as well? We can find that on land titles?
I'm not sure if it's a share sale or not.
All right, and 1833 Pevna and 859 Grosvenor, you're aware that that was a portfolio sale?
I believe it was a, I believe they were sold together, and I believe they did give separated sale prices for each property, that being 22,500,000 for Pembina and 7 million for Grosvenor. And we looked at their income and expenses and applied that NOI against those sale prices to get our calculated cap rate. So I think that's how a cap rate is calculated, and that's how we believe it's valid.
And the workups for your cap rate comparables, have you provided that, or have you submitted that into evidence today?
No.
And do you know how the NOIs are stabilized for each of the individual cap rates?
We looked at their income, and then we stabilized their expenses to stabilize their net operating income.
But we really have no way of, I guess today we really have no way of verifying how the NOI was stabilized to confirm that these cap rates are accurate.
If you want, we're not presenting every piece of information for that.
And those are all my questions. I will just make reference to third source in my rebuttal.
Okay, well, we'll ask questions of Cam. And then we'll go to your presentation. Linda, any questions?
I don't have any further questions.
Doug?
No questions, it's fine, thank you.
Just a question regarding the construction type. It's wood frame and steel studs, I guess.
I believe it's wood frame.
That's what it says on page 1 of your.
Yes.
So would this have the same cap rate of as a masonry constructed apartment block in the same period?
I believe so. From my observations in terms of sale prices, it doesn't seem to indicate any difference between wood frame and concrete. And we especially don't have enough information on newer apartment buildings, whether there's any difference between concrete or masonry versus wood frame. As far as I can tell, the market seems to be treating it similarly or the same.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question. And Ryan, you can make your presentation.
Okay, for the rest of the rebuttal.
Have we got the rebuttal?
You wanna submit all these files as a rebuttal? I got an email for
Yes,
16.
There should have been 4 files. I'm really only going to make reference to one of them now, again, because my questioning sort of covered each of those. I'll go through each document quickly.
Okay. Yes, all. And these rebuttals are particularly related to this file or to all of the files?
It would be related to all the files. So really my rebuttal and my questioning carry forwards into each file. Thanks.
You just have to give us a minute to.
Okay, it's in the folder. Yeah,
So
4 files.
there's 4 files,
Yeah.
right?
I sent you an email, Mr. Wong.
Okay.
You can let us know when you have it.
Okay. I do have it.
Thank you. Okay, Ryan. And let us know which file you're referring to.
Yes, for sure. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to jump to the page here. Okay, so looking at the verification adjustment of sales, we're really only using the IAAO standards here.
Just hang on.
For sure.
Are we there? On the rebuttal?
Which one are we going to?
Verification adjustment of sales.
It's the bottom
Okay.
one in that list of rebuttal.
If you just scroll over to page 27.
You said?
Yes. I'm looking at section 5.6.
Just hang on.
Yep.
There's 64 pages in this document.
Section 5.2, you said?
5.6.2.
Okay, well, that's not page 27.
No. Page 27 of
Yeah,
this
page
one.
27.
Page 27.
Page, yeah, 27 of the part.
Of the,
Yeah, I guess it's
PDF.
because not every page here is numbered, so I'm going by the PDF page number.
are you there, Ken?
Apologies for that.
Yes,
Multiple, is that the one we're looking at?
Yes.
Yes.
5.6.2. There you go.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, you can proceed.
Okay, so just with reference to the two cap rate comparables, the two cap rate comparables at 1833 Pembina, 859 Grosvenor, we learned through questioning that those were part of a portfolio sale. So it says here, second paragraph, regardless of whether the parcels are contiguous, any multiple parcel sale that involves multiple economic use generally should not be used in the valuation or ratio of study. So, and the assessor has chosen to include that in his study today. And that is really all I need to refer to in that document. But if we now go over to the investment brochure for the Lady Joyce Apartments.
Now we're going back to another rebuttal.
The
Yeah, another.
top one in the rebuttal group.
Okay,
Oops. Why didn't we even order? Maybe, okay.
Okay, so as we can see on PDF page 3 of this document, just to show that again, we learned through questioning that the NOI for 2390 McPhillips reported on this brochure is $970,869. And again, applying that to the sale price of $19,400,000, we are coming at an NOI of approximately 5% for that property. Okay, and I'm going to skip over the article here and just go on to the rebuttal for 32 Arden.
Well, that's a different file.
That's a different file again, yes. And if we're all ready, I'm just going to speak to this cap rate comparable.
Okay.
Okay, so the assessor has has derived a cap rate for this property of 5.05% on page 9 of their brief. However, based on our analysis, and we provided how we've stabilized the NOI here, our workup, We are coming in at a cap rate of 5.36% in comparison to the assessor's 5.05%. So again, just to make note that there appears to be a discrepancy. However, we have submitted our stabilization where the city has not provided their workup. And that is all for my rebuttal evidence.
Okay, Kim, have you got any questions?
With regards to the 32 Arden, we haven't provided anything, but we actually did provide it for our rebuttal for the Altus cap rate. And so I guess we can take a look at that later. But with regards to the Lady Joyce listing, where they listed it at, or they indicated a 4.75% cap rate and their NOI and their value. I'm not sure if it's fair to take one part of that, one part of that listing and then trying to derive a cap rate from it. What we did was we actually, well,
Can you repeat, Mr. Wong? Actually, you were just cut off.
pardon me?
Can you repeat for a bit? You were just cut off.
Oh, okay. Okay. With regards to the Lady Joyce listing, they listed an NOI, a cap rate, and a value. And I'm not sure if it's fair to sort of take one part of that and then apply another part, like say taking the their NOI and then applying a different sale price to get their cap rate. But regardless, they're indicating a cap rate of 4.75, and we've calculated cap rate of 4.9.
Anything else?
No.
Linda, any questions?
No, I have no question.
Doug?
No questions from me, thank you.
And I have no questions. So you can start your presentation.
So,
Let's get there first.
yes, for sure.
Everybody there? Okay, then start.
Okay, so the subject property at 2000 St. Mary's Road, roll number 08-0211-33300, file number 22-889. I'll just skip over to page 4 of my brief here. So the subject property is located on the northwest side of St. Mary's Road between Norman Avenue to the north and Van Hall Way to the south in the Norman Park neighborhood of the city of Winnipeg. The subject property is improved with 6 four-story buildings built between 2014 to 2018 and is presently being used as a multiple family residential building. The gross floor area is 614,003 square feet, which includes 127,634 square feet of basement area. There's a total of 425 suites. We have 124 one-bedroom suites and 301 two-bedroom suites. It looks like we have a difference in the parking stall counts as well. We have 420 indoor and 53 outdoor parking stalls. The subject site is 489,458 square feet and is zoned RM5, multiple family. And I've provided a map of the subject property on page 4 and a further map on page 5. And if we just skip over to my income workup before I go to the cap rate, it is on page 9 of my brief, and I have labeled each of the pages there. for you to refer to.
I think we're all there.
Okay. All right, and so you can see here, we've used the actual rents that are being paid at the property, and with extra income for parking, storage, and miscellaneous income. And applying the expenses, we know that not all phases were completed between 2015 to 2017. I've used 2020 expenses here, and I'm coming in at an NOI, the 2020 expenses, 2019 expenses were labeled, and I'm coming in at an NOI of 5,287,443, which is higher than the assessor, and applying a cap rate of 5.5%. So going into the details of my cap rate here on page 8, I think would be best if I present my cap rate study first. That way we understand how our cap rates are derived, and then I can go into each individual adjustment.
Do we have that document?
Yeah, we have, we should, yeah, it's at the very end.
Oh, yes. Cam, did you get to that document?
I'm just going to go find it right now. I'll let you know. It should be right away.
Okay.
I could get rid of the film.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Thanks for your patience with looking back and forth.
2 weeks, we only have to do it once.
Okay, I have the Altus cap rate.
Okay, all right, so going to page 2 of our cap rate study here. So we have the city of Winnipeg's valuation of income producing properties, 2023 general assessment. We're seeing that they've applied cap rates for apartments which range from 3.85% to 7.4%, and with most being between 4.9% to 5.65%. And we've provided a sampling of the cap rates in appendix page 8 here for you all to refer to, so that we're really just showing that we are not really sure how the city has been deriving their cap rates. We can see on page 8, we have a 1915. Oh,
Are you in the appendix?
in
To
the
the
appendix,
cap rate?
page 8, yes.
Page.
Page 8.
I gotta get to the appendix first.
Got all the individual things here.
So it's in the appendix?
Yes. Well, they're all labeled just in numerical order.
Page 8 on the PDF. That'd be it. Cam, you're there?
It's a quick
Oh,
one.
sorry. Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
That's a quick reference I'm making here. So we can see, for example, the 1915 build there on page 8, the city's applied a 6.65% cap rate, yet for example, a 1911 build, 5.15% cap rate. I guess we would expect typically that the older buildings would have a higher cap rate, and it looks like the city has been applying possibly percentage adjustments of about 0.05. So again, just referencing that we're not too sure. We've done a study of the city's cap rates, and we're just not really sure how they've been applying those. And flipping back to page 2 now.
Okay, we're there.
Okay. It's just a table of the market reports reported by the brokers here. So we see here the cap rate ranges that they're applying, and we can see that according to their studies, the cap rates have barely moved, only about 0% to about 0.25%. And we also just want to note here that the ranges in the cap rates reported may be excused by the inclusion of more investment style properties, and they include other costs such as land transfer taxes and other closing costs. And skipping ahead to page 4 of my brief, referring to the various factors affecting the capitalization rate. And something that we're already here. So we're saying that for building type and construction, the style of building and type of construction can impact the risk. So for example, row housing or garden style apartments with multiple buildings on site, more room to take care of, wood frame construction, we feel those would increase the risk of the of any property. Heritage status designation. None of the properties that we are looking at today are affected by that, so I'm just going to skip over that point. Building amenities. Now, tenant preferences have been shifting. Many more people are working from home, and this is a trend that has predated and was only amplified by the COVID-19 pandemic. And due to the need for more space, there has been growing preferences for such amenities such as in-suite laundry, balconies and outdoor spaces, walk-up access, office spaces or dens, business spaces and gyms, durability and quality of the income stream. Again, none of the properties are really affected by this factor here today. So really, we would expect, for example, that the durability and quality of income stream would be affected by, for example, affordable housing units placed where there are restrictions placed on rents and prospective tenants. And the next factor here is age. So older units tend to have a shorter remaining economic life and possible functional obsolescence with an expectation of pending capital expenditures to modernize the space. And going to the conditions. So again, just say the condition of the building and suites will impact the risk. So a building with pending capital expenditures or low quality finishes would increase the risk. Parking, or the amount of parking. So the ratio of parking, typically it's required by the Winnipeg zoning bylaw to be 1.5 stalls per suite, but we're saying that 1-to-1 is fine. It also depends on the number of suites that you have in an apartment, at an apartment as well. If you have something like 400 suites and there's, let's say, like 380 parking spots, you're probably fine, just as an example there. Going on to page 5, the suite mix. Again, there's been shifting preferences here. So we can see that looking at the vacancy rates for bachelors and 1-bedrooms, it has increased for bachelor suites 1.3%. And for 1-bedrooms, 1.4%. For 2-bedrooms, the vacancy rate has only increased 0.4%, and the vacancy rate for 3-bedrooms has actually decreased from October 2018 by 1.2%. So this just shows that there is a greater demand for larger suites, more bedrooms, etc. Oh, and just going back to the building amenities here, one point that just forgot to mention here. On page 21,
Okay, just let us get there.
yes,
Economic impact assessment.
economic impact assessment, correct, yes. And if we're all there,
Just a moment.
Is that the? Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Okay, we're all there.
so again, just with a highlighted point here, the city was also saying that there's an increasing number of employees doing more of their work from their homes. I think from here on out, just to save everyone from the scrolling, just make reference to those pages, and then you can read those at for your perusal. Okay, so going on to going back to page 5 here.
Same document, yes.
Same document, yes. Okay. Again, there's just been a growing trend of tenant preferences for more space in a suite, and small suite sizes would typically carry a higher risk than larger suites. The number of suites. So the number of suites can impact the volatility. So if you have a lower number of suites in a certain property, it could exhibit more volatility in the vacancy rate. And as the property exhibits its turnover, the vacancy rate will fluctuate a lot more with properties with a smaller amount of suites. And it would be more difficult to maintain a market vacancy. Location and external factors. Next factor affecting the cap rate. There's different location and external factors that may contribute to the risk of a property, and as such can have an effect on the cap rate. Supply and demand. So the supply and demand can impact the vacancy, development, and rent potential of a property. If demand exceeds supply, then there would be less risk associated with a property, and vice versa. So there is a graph to refer to here on page 36.
Okay.
Okay, so we see on the graph on page 36 that there has been a number of new inventory. So we can see that according to this graph here, that the number of new apartments has shot up since we can see here since 2015 really. And looking at page 37, in the northwest quadrant of the city, these are studies that we've done here, that there are 728 apartments in the northwest quadrant, and between 2021 and 2022, we were expecting 700 more to come into play here. Northeast.
But that's post reference, right?
We have been collecting this information for some time now. So,
But if you're using data post April 1st, 2021, it's
okay.
not relevant. So this
It
chart.
would have gone by permit dates, but okay, I guess we should clarify that.
Yeah, because this doesn't really show us anything.
Okay. Okay, well, going back to page 5 then.
Okay, we're there.
Okay, these are the cap rates that were applied in the table at the bottom. The cap rates that were applied and settled between 2020 for the previous cycle 2020 to 2022. Going on to page 6, we provided our cap rate comparables for your reference. And on page 7, we've done a study of sale prices per suite according to the category here. And finally, our cap rate table here shows how we derive our base cap rates depending on the age and number of stories, and we allow for adjustments for each of the factors that I've been explaining earlier. And now, so that is how we have derived our cap rates. Going back to my brief now for the subject property.
Well, let's do questioning on the rebuttal brief, if there is any. Cam, any questions?
Any questions regarding the rebuttal brief?
Yes.
This is the cap rate study, no?
Oh,
sorry.
I mean,
No, this is a cap rate study.
Yeah.
this is our cap rate study. Yes, yeah.
Any questions on the cap rate study?
Yes. Just regarding your page 4 and 5.
Okay.
With regards to, I guess, all those various factors that could affect the cap rate, age, condition, parking, suite mix, suite size, number of suites, location, external factors. Is it possible that your the cap rate sales that you presented on page 6 could encompass all those various factors already, rather than making adjustments for them? Could they possibly have been included in the considered already in the cap rate sales that you've provided?
Well, we use the comparable sales to sort of determine our range for the cap rates. But again, these aren't indicative of what the cap rates for the subject properties might be. So we have to consider what the base cap rate would be, then make adjustments depending on the characteristics of each property that we're looking at.
Okay. And on page 7, it indicates that the 1999 plus, that there's 4 sales. Are any of those 4 sales included in your cap rate sales?
Okay, so 1999 plus
Yeah.
5.25%. And sorry, and what was the question?
It says there's 4 sales. It's indicating
Yes.
150,000 per unit. You haven't presented any of those particular sales in your page 6, correct?
I don't believe so. It's a sampling of our sales, and I believe what we used for that. Yes, thank you. So, believe we derived those sale prices on page 71.
Oh, okay. That would be all my questions.
Thank you. Linda, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
My question has been answered, thank you.
And I have no questions. So now to your main brief.
Yes. Okay. So again, going back to our cap rate on page 8 that we've applied here, we have applied a base cap rate of 5.25% with adjustments, with the adjustments labeled below. So for building type and construction, there's 6 wood frame apartment buildings. We feel that this would increase the risk. The building amenities, it does have high quality finishes, a multi-purpose room, fitness facility, etc. So we do feel that that would decrease the risk. It has adequate parking, and given the supply and demand, again, we've seen here that there's an oversaturation of new apartments. Based on analysis, we believe that a 5.5% cap rate should be applied, and this works out to a value of 96,135,000 for the subject.
And that's your presentation.
That is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Cam, any questions?
I guess earlier you had indicated like the McPhillips property, the Lady Joyce, would that be similar to the subject property?
It's in a different area, and the Lady Joyce Apartments, there's multiple buildings on there. I guess I would need to pull the details to know more if it's what current construction, how many buildings there are on the site.
I guess, sorry,
I'm not too
Lady
sure.
Joyce would be a
I'm not
newer
sure.
building, correct?
Sorry.
Lady Joyce would be a newer building, just like the subject property, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that indicated a cap rate of maybe 4.75 to maybe the 5 that you recalculated. And in this particular case, you feel the subject property warrants a 0.5 or 0.75% increase in cap rate. You feel it's appropriate for the subject property?
I do. We've done our study, and again, we're assuming a base cap rate of 5.25%, and with the adjustments for the risk factors that I've mentioned.
Okay. That would be all my questions.
Thank you. Linda, any questions?
I don't have any further questions.
Doug?
None for me, thank you.
I just have one question at page 4. I can see the buildings that are on the site. So is to the right of the buildings, is that excess land?
I'm not too sure, actually. I didn't inspect the property, so
It looks like there's a retention pond on the site, but then to the immediate right, there looks to be a fair amount of land fronting on St. Mary's.
I guess we would have to do an analysis of that to see if there's any value left on those lines. I mean, it's a triangular shaped lot. I'm not sure.
Okay, that was my only question. So that concludes 2000 St. Mary's Road.
I think I have some rebuttal for the Altus cap rate.
Do we have it?
You should.
I don't think we have it, Mr. Wong.
Okay.
A&D. Yeah, we have it. Sorry.
Okay.
Just hang on.
Oh, okay. It shouldn't be in that folder. I'll put it right there.
Oh, it's not here yet.
We have a copy of this.
Yeah, it's the file A&D rebuttal, second one.
Okay.
Second one.
Yeah. And
Manitoba Premier.
We had a copy from before. I don't know if I received it for this hearing specifically.
Okay, I'll send it again.
Yeah, just in case there's any difference.
No problem.
So Cam, this applies to all the properties on the docket today?
Yes.
Okay, Brian, do you have it?
I'm just saying.
Oh, you just sent it.
Okay.
Okay, I guess let me know when everybody's ready to go.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the documents to come through on my end.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, Kim, go ahead.
Okay, on page 1, there's a couple properties that I guess were not included in this Altus cap rate study, which are Yale and Grant. So if you could, I guess, pay no attention to those 2 sales. But with regards to the 535 Victor sale,
That's post reference.
well, the Altus has presented it in their cap rate study, and they're saying that the sale price was agreed upon prior to the reference date, and so they included it. And so we did a calculation on it, and the 535 Victor, they used a pro forma to calculate their cap rate. So a pro forma is just a very, it seems like usually for me, it's a very rough estimate of how the property operates. But for 535 Victor, we applied their actual income and expenses, like 3-year stabilized to against the sale price, and we calculated a cap rate of 3.19%. If you look at page 3,
Oh, oh, that's where it is. And then I have to go back, right?
Yeah. And we will see the other pages. And then you click
Under file,
view under view. Under the view,
okay,
rotate view at the very top.
Yep.
Clockwise.
We're all there.
Yeah.
Okay, Ken.
So that's our stabilized net operating income. And like I said, the Altus cap rate study, they used a pro forma, which is an estimate of the expenses, but this is you can see their income from 2018 to 2020 is approximately, it ranges from 95,000 to 119,000, and we stabilized at 107,000. We stabilized their expenses at 71,000, and their NOI is 36,000 applied against the sale price of 1,135,000. That cap rate is 3.19%. If you go back to my page 1,
Okay, you'll just have to wait. We have to change the view on it again.
yep.
Okay,
So with regards to 535 Corden, Altus had calculated 5.73 when we calculated 5.74 on for 1139 Grant. Altus had calculated 5.55 and we calculated 4.46. Actually, Grant is not included. Okay, sorry, ignore that. Grant is in the Altus cap rate study anymore. For 677 Grant, Altus had calculated 5.66 and we had calculated 5.5.
you meant 677 Maryland.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 677 Maryland. Yeah, I'm sorry. 677 Maryland. Altus calculated 5.66 and we calculated 5.5. And for 32 Arden, Altus had calculated 5.42 and we calculated 5.05. And the information is in the following pages. Basically, we're just trying to say that the cap rates that Altus has calculated we feel that they probably are lower than what Altus has calculated, and that's just what the summary of my rebuttal.
Okay, thank you. Ryan, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Linda,
I don't have any questions.
and
None for me. You.
so again, that concludes 2000 St. Mary's, and that these documents submitted for rebuttal will carry on through the hearing, and you don't have to speak to them again. Okay, let's go to the second property on the docket, 449A Paddington Road.
Is everybody ready?
Just give us a sec.
Sure.
Okay.
The subject property is 449 Paddington Road. The roll number is 080-075-30200. It's a residential apartment block. It's 3 stories high. It's built in 1983 and has 48 suites with 60 outdoor parking stalls. On page 3 is a picture of the subject property with its location. It's also in the south end of the city in St. Vital. On page 4 are some pictures of the interior pictures of the subject property. It appears that they are trying to upgrade the property. On page 5 is our income valuation summary. We use average rents of $1,089 to get a potential income of $627,000. We use a 3.2% vacancy to get an effective gross income of $607,000. And we use a 47% expense ratio to get a net operating income of $321,000. Capped at 4.9%, we have an estimated market value of $6,567,000. On page 4 are some rent comparables showing that the rents we've used are in line with what's in the market. On page 5 is a summary of the income and expenses from the property owner. Their 2020 income is $614,000. There was some interest in there, so removing that, their operating income is $614,000. Their expenses are $361,000, but they have some major repair and replacement, which it appears to me that they are capital, and so I removed them. Removing the $75,000 major repair and maintenance, their expenses are $286,000. And just to give you an idea of what the major repair and replacement, how that affects the repair and maintenance costs, excluding the major repair and replacement, the R&M per unit is $1,376. That's pretty much right in the heart of what I've observed as being a normal R&M amount for a unit. If you include the major repair and maintenance, it would be $2,952. So I feel that's definitely outside the range of the cost per unit for repair and maintenance. So I feel it's reasonable to exclude the major repair and replacement. And when you do that, their net operating income is $328,000. The model is at $321,000. So I feel that the actual the subject property's actual net operating income supports the model. On page 8 is information on how we derived our cap rates. And on page 9 are some cap rate sales. On page 10 and 11 is some Altus cap rates. And the last 2 pages is the income statement from the property owner. So the actual performance of the subject property, the actual NOI supports the model NOI, and the model cap rates are supported by the market. So I ask that you maintain the assessed value at $6,567,000.
That concludes your presentation.
Yes.
Thank you. Brian, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
No questions? Linda?
So just to be clear, what you included as major capital, you saw examples or permits that told you what those were?
Yeah, it's pardon me?
On which you base your decision to call them capital.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Doug?
None for me, thank you. So Kim, when were the renovations? When was the permit taken out?
I'm not sure if there was a permit taken out. It's just that like when they list the major repair and replacement, their items such as AC replacement, appliance replacement, cabinet replacement, common area major repairs, and countertop replacement. So that's what they classified as major replacements, and I view those items as capital.
But wouldn't there be a permit for the plumbing?
Unfortunately, I don't have any permit information.
Okay, that concludes my question on this property, and that concludes this property. Oh, no, sorry. Hey, Ryan, it's you're up.
Okay. The subject property 449A Paddington Road, roll number 08-007530200, file number 22-1533. So the subject property, it's located on the west side of Paddington Road at the northwest corner of Paddington Road and Ward Avenue in the River Park South neighborhood of the city of Winnipeg. It's improved with 2 3-story buildings, each built in 1983 and are presently being used as multiple family residential buildings. There are a total of 24 1-bedroom and 24 2-bedroom suites, and there are 60 outdoor parking stalls. The site size is 72,921 square feet, and it is zoned RMFS, residential multifamily. Provided maps for the location of the subject on pages 4 and 5. And going on to my evaluation here. Yes, that does bring into question what are capital expenses and what are not here. But I mean, I've applied what I've had based off of what they've spent through the past 5 years here. So I'm coming in at a net operating income of $258,059. That is on page 9 of my brief. And again, I think I should have considered those the higher repair and maintenance here. But regardless, going to page 8 with how I've derived my cap rates, we've used the base cap rate of 5.5%. Plus the adjustments. So we have I shouldn't say garden style, it's just multiple buildings on site. Wood frame construction, each building has individual HVAC and hot water tanks, so we feel that would increase the risk. The amount of parking is sufficient to support this property. And again, with the saturation of new apartments, we are playing a 5.75% cap rate, and we are coming in at a value of $4,488,000.
Thank you. Cam, any questions?
It's on page 10.
Good. I think we're all there.
So was there, for 2016, was there total repair and maintenance 85,000?
Yes,
And then for 2000 and for the following years, it's substantially higher at like 192,000, 178,000, 202,000, and 158,000. It's noticeably higher.
yes, it is significantly higher, and for some reason I missed that.
Okay. Is it possible that there could be some capital expenditure included in there?
I would think that's possible, yes.
That would be all my questions.
Thank you. Linda, any questions?
I have a question.
Doug, nor do I. Thank you. And that concludes Paddington Road. Moving on, the next property is 165 John Forsyth Road. And Cam, just give us a minute to get there.
Okay.
And you can commence your presentation. Thank you.
Okay. The subject property is 165 John Forsyth Road. The roll number is 080-076-15000. It's a residential apartment block that's 3 stories high. It was built in 1986 and it has 18 suites with 21 outdoor parking stalls. On page 3 is a picture of the subject property with its location. On page 4 is our income valuation summary. We use average rents of $1,127 to get a potential income of $243,000. We use a 3.2% vacancy to get an effective gross income of $235,000. And we used a 46% expense ratio to get a net operating income of $125,000. Capped at 4.7%, we have an estimated market value of $2,674,000. On page 4 are our rent comparables, showing that the rents we've used are in line with what's in the market. On page 6 is a summary of the income and expenses submitted by the owner. For 2020, their income was $225,000. Their expenses are $73,000. Their actual R&M was $6,693, which is $372 per unit. That is lower than, that's probably outside of the low end of the range. In my experience, it can range from about $500 to $2,000 in terms of a normal range. And so I felt that applying a repair and maintenance figure of $1,300 per unit was fair and reasonable. In some of the other properties, they have repair and maintenance figures per unit of 1,100, 1,200, 1,400 per unit, and 1,500 per unit. So I feel that using 1,300 per unit to estimate their expenses is reasonable. In doing that, their operating expenses are $90,000 and their estimated NOI is $134,000. That's a little bit higher than what the model has estimated at $125,000. So I feel that their actual performance supports the model NOI. On page 7 is information on how we derived our cap rates. On page 8 are some cap rate sales. On page 9 and 10 is some Altus cap rate information. And on the last page is the income and expenses submitted by the owner. So in summary, like when we use a market level repair and maintenance per unit, the actual NOI supports the model NOI. The model cap rate is supported by the market cap rates. So I ask that you maintain the assessed value at $2,674,000.
Thank you. And Ryan, any questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the potential rent that the model has derived is $243,588, correct? And on your stabilization on page 6, you indicate the actual rents here as being $225,291.
Yes.
So is the actual rents more reflective of the rent that should have been applied to the subject?
It seems like their actual income is about 225,000. The effective gross income is about for the model has 235,000. So it does seem to be the model is a little bit high in terms of the effective gross income, but it also seems like it's a little bit high in terms of their expenses. So I think in the end, it kind of balances itself out, and the operating income estimated by the model is reasonably accurate and might be a little bit low.
Are you aware though that the owner does manage, that the owner manages and does maintenance on the subject property?
Yes, and it makes sense because their repair and maintenance is $372 per unit. But in adjusting for that, in applying a 1,300 per unit repair and maintenance, that's how I estimated their net operating income as being reasonable.
No further questions.
Thank you. Linda, any questions?
I have no question.
And
My questions have been answered. Thank you.
and I have no questions. Ryan, you're up next.
Okay. Right, so the subject property at 165 John Forsyth Road, roll number 08-007-615-000, file number 22-1645. Going on to page 4 of my brief here. The subject property is located on the west side of John Forsyth Road, near the northwest corner of John Forsyth and Ward Avenue in the River Park South neighborhood of the city of Winnipeg. The subject property is approved with a 3-story building built in 1986 and is presently being used as a multiple family residential building. The gross floor area is 18,669 square feet. And there is a total of 18 2-bedroom suites with 21 outdoor parking stalls. The site size is 23,546 square feet and is zoned RMFS multifamily. Again, my briefs all follow the same order here. We have maps on pages 4 and 5. And going to my income workup, we've applied the actual rents as of 2020 with additional laundry and parking income. So again, the owner manages, we went through questioning that the owner manages and does the maintenance on the property. And I have a note here too that the owner does not charge for his time. So for that reason, we're using the assessor's expense ratio. We come in at an NOI of $119,914. For the cap rate, really no adjustments for this one. It's your standard apartment, so we've applied a cap rate of 5.5%, it being a 1986 3-story build. And we come in at a value of $2,180,000. And that concludes my presentation of this property.
Thank you very much. Cam, any questions?
No questions.
Linda?
No, I think I have no question.
Good.
None for me, thank you.
And I have no questions. So that concludes 165 John Forsyth Road.
Does anybody need a break? Okay, Linda. The next one on the docket is 1639 St. Mary's Road. And I understand there's a recommendation on this one. Is that correct, Cam?
Yes.
Okay, you can read the property in for the record.
Yeah.
And make your presentation.
Yes. The subject property is 1639 St. Mary's Road. The roll number is 080-812-22130. It's a residential apartment block that's 4 stories high. It was built in 2020, and there's 66 suites with 100 outdoor parking stalls. On page 3 is a picture of the subject property with its location. On page 4 are some pictures of the interior of the subject property. On page 5 is our income valuation summary. We used average rents of $1,687 to get a potential income of $1,336,000. We used the 3.2% vacancy to get an effective gross income of $1,293,000. And we used a 37% expense ratio to get a net operating income of $811,000. Capped at 4.3%, we have an estimated market value of $18,875,000. On page 6 is a summary of my revised value. The potential income is based on the subject property's rent roll, which is on my page 13. That rent roll is effective prior to the reference date. It is effective on February 1st, 2021. The potential for the property is $1,195,000. The model has estimated $1,336,000. So I feel that the model is high in that regard. And so I'm using the rent roll to calculate the potential for the subject property and applying the model 3.2% vacancy. The effective gross income is $1,157,000, and using the model's 37% expenses at $431,000. The NOI is $726,000. Capped at 4.3%, the estimated market value is $16,892,000, and that's the number that I have on my page 1. This is a new construction. On page 7. On page 7 are some rent comparables showing that the rents that we've applied are in line with what's in the market, but in this case, we're using the actual rent roll. So on the bottom of page 7 are some expense comparables. The expenses for newer properties typically range from about 33% or so to about 40%. And so I feel that the rate that we've used at 37% is in line with the market. On page 8 is information on how we derived our cap rates, and on page 9 are some cap rate sales. On page 10 and 11, some alter cap rate information indicating 4.5% in 2017 and 4.3% in 2020. On page 13 is a summary of the rent roll for the subject property. This is what I use to estimate the potential for the subject property. So when we're looking at the revised rents, it is supported by the market and by the actual rents. And the model expenses are supported by the market, as well as the cap rate being supported by the market. So I ask that you accept the revised value of 16,892,000. That completes my presentation.
Thank you. And Ryan, how do you feel about the recommendation?
I would just like to ask a few questions here, actually. And if that's okay, regarding the recommendation?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So when you into your value for your recommendation here, you use the rent roll that you have on page 13 here.
Yeah.
And the rent roll is as of November 19th, 2021.
Yes.
Okay. Were some of the rents that you took into account post reference? Possibly.
I feel that they started leasing in February 2021. So in my view, the rent roll is applicable or can be used.
And this was submitted by the owner to the city?
Yes.
Okay, that's odd because we don't have record of this.
It may have been received like during our inspections when we added it to the assessment roll. The person doing the inspection and adding it to the roll may have got this information from the property owner.
Okay, but do you have, I guess, the specific rents that would label when each lease started?
No, no.
I guess, well, really for that reason, then, we do very much appreciate the offer, but we wouldn't be willing to accept it at this stage, and we do still feel that the cap rate that's been applied is still quite low. But again, we appreciate, but we would have to respectfully decline the recommendation.
Okay, that's fine.
And I have one more question just regarding the cap rate as well.
Okay,
Just want to get the
go ahead.
recommendation out of the way there. So on your page 11, this graph here, I believe that's been used in previous cycles as well. And I believe at this stage, are you fully aware that these cap rates that were derived, they included properties with the intention to renovate?
Apparently they were, but at the same time, I've seen it. It doesn't invalidate them. Like I've seen appraisers use properties that were for renovation for appraisal purposes, and obviously Altus feels it's appropriate to use them and to calculate their cap rates of, in this case, 4.5 and 4.3%.
I believe that the boards have ruled though that we shouldn't be using properties with the intention to renovate in deriving our cap rates.
You can, that's fair, but it's also fair to say that appraisers, professional accredited appraisers use these cap rates for valuation.
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda?
No questions.
Doug? No questions. Thank you. Cam, your cap rate's at 4.3%, correct?
Yes.
And if I go to page 8, this is considered a low rise A.
I would say so.
And so the range for low rise A is 4.8 to 5.6, and you're significantly lower than that.
Yeah, the majority of the cap rates fall between 4.8 and 5.6. This is one of the properties that are, I guess, lower than 4.8. Yeah, there are some properties that are lower than 4.8 and higher than 5.6, but in this particular case, it is 4.3.
So was that picked by the model?
Yes.
Okay, that was my only question. Okay, Ryan,
Okay.
you're up.
So the subject property at 1639 St. Mary's Road, roll number 08-08 1222130, file number 22-1397. Going on to page 4 of my brief, the subject property is located on the east side of St. Mary's Road between Nova Vista Drive to the north and Britannica Road to the south in the River Park South neighborhood of the city of Winnipeg. The subject is improved with a 4-story building constructed in 2020 and is presently being used as a multiple family residential building. The total gross floor area is 72,548 square feet with no basement. There is a total of, just labeled that 66 suites, with 3 bachelors, 15 1-bedroom and 48 2-bedroom suites, and there are 90 outdoor parking stalls. The subject site, it's 79,332 square feet and is zoned C2 for this one. Going on to my workup, so we didn't have any rents that were available to us for the subject property as of the reference date. So we derived them based on CMHC average rents. So we can see the table that I have under my income workup on page 9. And the gross potential rent that I've derived here is $1,045,356. We've applied the city's expense ratio of 37.26% and a cap rate of 5.25%. So that's a base cap rate of 5.25%. And the building amenities that this property has a resident lounge, high quality finishes, balconies, in-suite laundry, which would decrease the risk, as adequate parking, and given the supply and demand, again, we feel that this is an increased risk, but taking in all these factors into account, we still feel that the base cap rate we still have applied the base cap rate of 5.25%. This and our final value is now $12,093,000. And we are requesting the board to reduce the assessed value for the subject to that amount.
That's it.
That is it.
Thank you very much. Cam, any questions?
Yes, regarding your calculation of the potential rent,
Mhm.
you used, I guess, CMHC.
Yes.
And it says, I guess on the bottom of your page 9, you took an average of the units built in 2020 and newer, and the units 50 to 99 and the zone St. Vital. Do those rents include buildings that could potentially be built in 1900?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. Is it possible that you could have just used rents of newer buildings, like the ones built in 2020, to calculate the potential?
Yes, it's possible, but this is typically our standard formula that we use because we have to take into account the size and the location of the subject as well. And again, with no rental information available, this is what we were able to use.
That would be all my questions.
Thank you. Linda?
I have no question.
Good.
My question's been asked, thank you.
I have no questions, Brian. Cam, do you want to go back to your brief? I have a question that just popped into my head.
Okay.
So if I look at page 13, which is the master rent roll,
Yes.
other than Harvest Crossing Apartments, there's no identifier on this rent roll that it's 1639 St. Mary's or some other address, is there?
No. I mean, I can double check, but I'm pretty. I would say that this is for the subject property. All right, hang on. You could,
I was having a name there.
sorry, you could just hold on for 1 sec, please.
Sure. Is it in the picture?
No, we're in the top. Page 13. Harvest
I
Crossing.
can confirm that the.
It is Harvest Crossing. Okay, Ryan, Ryan's confirmed it is Harvest Crossing.
Okay, yeah.
But generally, these include an address on them.
Yeah, generally they do. I guess I should have maybe, it might have been included in the first page, and maybe I should have included the first page of the rent roll as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just included the summary for, I don't know, simplicity.
Okay, that concludes my question. And that concludes this property, correct? Okay, I think we're going to take a 10-minute break.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
We will reconvene the hearing this morning, and the next property on the docket is 780 Elizabeth Road. And I understand there's a recommendation on this one as well. And Cam, you can start your presentation.
Okay. The subject property is 780 Elizabeth Road. The roll number is 060-214-79000. It's a residential apartment that's 3 stories high. It's built in 1959, and it has 71 suites with 58 outdoor parking stalls. On page 3 is a picture of the subject property with its location. On page 4 are some interior pictures of the subject property. On page 5 is a summary, is our income valuation summary. We use average rents of $998 to get a potential income of $850,000. We use a 3.2% vacancy, get an effective gross income of $823,000. We use a 48% expense ratio to get a net operating income of $421,000. Capped at 5.45%, we have an estimated market value of $7,727,000. On page 6 are some rent comparables showing the rents we've used are in line with what's in the market. On page 7 is a summary of the income and expenses submitted by the owner. If you look at the income for 2017 to 2019, it's fairly consistent, but for some reason, but in 2020, it drops significantly. I'm not totally sure why that's the case, but I feel that we can look at 2017 to 2019 for valuation purposes. The income for 2019 is $796,000. That's noticeably lower than what the model has estimated at $850,000. And so in the revised value that is on my page 1, it's calculated using the income, the average income from 2017 to 2019. Normally I would use the 2019, but I'm not sure what's going on with the 2020 income. So I use the average income for 2017 to 2019, averaging the expenses at $369,000. The NOI is $404,000, capped at 5.45%. We have an estimated market value of $7,420,000. So that's the value that's on my page 1. On page 8 and 9 is information on how we derived our cap rates and some cap rate sales. On page 10 and 11, there's some Altus cap rate information. On page 13 is the income statement supplied by the owner. the revised NOI is supported by the market, and it's supported by their actual NOI. The cap rate is supported by the market, so I ask that you accept the revised value of $7,420,000.
Thank you very much. And Ryan, any questions? Oh, first of all, do you accept the recommendation?
We appreciate the recommendation, but again, given the cap rate, we respectfully decline the recommendation today.
Okay, that's fine. Any other questions of Cameron?
I do not have any questions though.
Okay, and Linda, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Doug?
None for me, thank you.
And I have no questions. So Ryan, you can proceed with your presentation.
All right, so the subject property at 780 Elizabeth Road, roll number 06-02147900, file number 22-1550. Going on to page 4 of my brief, the subject property is located on the south side of Elizabeth Road, on the southwest corner of Elizabeth Road and Arundel Road in the Windsor Park neighborhood of the city of Winnipeg. The subject property is improved with 2 3.5-story buildings constructed in 1959 and are presently being used as multiple family residential buildings. The gross floor area is 55,300 square feet with 13,825 square feet of basement area. There's a total of 71 suites comprising of 3 1-bedroom and 68 2-bedroom suites and 71 outdoor parking stalls. The site size is 56,538 square feet, and it is zoned RMFS, residential multifamily. Again, providing the maps there for your reference. Going to my income workup on page 9 of my brief, you can see here that we are higher than the city for a stabilized NOI. There was a bit of an issue with the rent roll that we received for 2020. So what I had to do with the rent for this property is take the 2019 gross potential rents of $750,727 and apply the RTP guideline increase of 2.4% to arrive at that value. They're reporting a much lower rent. I believe that was because they switched property managers in between, so they only provided the partial year for 2020. So I was able to use the actual 2020 from there. Otherwise, would have really skewed the information. But regardless, I mean, the NOI is higher than the city at $410,682. Our cap rate, flipping back to page 8, we've applied a base cap rate of 5.75%. And we made an adjustment because due to the building type and construction, there are 2 buildings. Again, when you have 2 buildings, there's more to maintain, more roofing costs to think of with replacements down the road, individual hot water tanks and HVAC units that also need to be replaced eventually as well. The parking ratio is adequate. There's an increased risk with the suite mix here. We can see that there are, as we've mentioned, that there are 68 2-bedroom units and only 3 1-bedroom units. So we view this as an inefficient suite mix. And considering, again, the supply and demand factor of the saturation of newer apartments, we believe that the cap rate applied to this property should be 6%. And this brings us to our final value of $6,845,000. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Cam, any questions?
No questions.
Linda?
No question.
No, thank you.
And I have no questions, so that concludes this part. The next one on the docket is 1000 Archibald Street. And Cam, you can start your presentation.
The subject property is 1000 Archibald Street. The roll number is 060-222-09000. It's a residential apartment block that's 2 stories high. It's built in 1964 and it has 22 suites with 22 outdoor parking stalls. So on page 2 is the sale history of the subject property. It sold for $1,950,000 in 2015. On page 3 is a picture of the subject property with its location. On page 4 is our income valuation summary. We use average rents of $826 to get a potential income of $218,000. We used a 3.2% vacancy to get an effective gross income of $211,000. And we used a 49% expense ratio to get a net operating income of $107,000. Capped at 5.15%, we have an estimated market value of $2,090,000. On page 5 are our rent comparables, that the rents we've used are in line with what's in the market. On page 6 is a summary of the income and expenses of the subject property. Their 2020 income was $224,000. Their expenses were $156,000, but that included amortization and interest expense. So after removing that, their operating expenses are $106,000, and their estimated their NOI for 2020 is $118,000, which is higher than what the model is estimated at $107,000. On page 7 and 8 is information on how we derived our cap rates and some cap rate sales. Page 9 and 10 is some Altus cap rate information. And on page 12 is the income statement for the subject property. So the actual net operating income of the subject property, it supports the model, and the 2015 sale at $1,950,000 also supports the model. So I ask that you maintain the assessed value at $2,090,000.
Thank you very much. Ryan, any questions?
I have no questions.
Linda?
I have no question.
Doug?
No questions. We thank you.
And I have no questions. So Ryan, you can start your presentation.
Okay, so the subject property at 1000 Archibald Street, roll number 06-022209000, file number 22-1497. The assessor has described the property accurately here, so I'm just going to skip over that. But one thing I do want to mention regarding this property's location is that it does overlook the St. Boniface Cemetery, and the rear faces the CPR Emerson line, so not the most visually appealing sites for any of the tenants constantly looking out of their window. Going on to my income workup here on page 9. We've provided the effective EGI in 2020 of $224,529. Stabilizing our expenses here, we come in at $116,155. And you can see on page 10 of my brief how I've stabilized the repair and maintenance. We come up to an NOI that is actually slightly higher than the city's model NOI of 107,625. We are coming in at $108,374. Regarding the cap rate on page 8, we've applied a base cap rate based on its age and number of stories of 5.5%. The parking is adequate for the property, and the locational external factors, one negative characteristic of this property would be, again, that it does face the Great River to the west and the CPR Emerson line to the east. Considering again the saturation of the newer apartments does increase the risk, we've applied a cap rate of 5.75%. And our final value is $1,885,000.
Thank you very much. Cam, any questions?
No questions.
No question.
None, thank you.
And I have no questions. So that concludes 1,000 Turkey Ball. The next one is 33 Nova Vista Drive, and Cam, you can start your presentation.
The subject property is 33 Nova Vista Drive. The roll number is 080-055-600-00. It's a residential apartment block that's 3 stories high. It was built in 1985 and has 24 suites with 30 outdoor parking stalls.
Sorry, guys, I just lost my, I couldn't go on that and then lost everything. Excuse me, sorry, I apologize. There we go. Thank you. Thank you.
And,
Okay.
okay, on page 3 is a picture of the subject property with its location. On page 4 is our income valuation summary. We use average rents of $1,004 to get a potential income of $289,000. We use the 3.2% vacancy to get an effective gross income of $279,000. And we use a 53% expense ratio to get a net operating income of $130,000. Capped at 4.75%, we have an estimated market value of $2,741,000. On page 4 are our rent comparables, showing that the rents we've used are in line with what's in the market. On page 6 is a summary of the income and expenses for the subject property. Their 2020 income was $281,000. Their expenses are $281,000, but that included amortization and bank charges, and it also included a very high management expense of $142,000. So removing the amortization and bank charges and removing the management, but adding in a 5% management of $14,000, their operating expenses are $138,000, and the NOI is $143,000, which supports the model NOI, which is $130,000. On page 7 is information on how we derived our cap rates, and on page 8 are some cap rate sales. On page 9 and 10 is some Altus cap rate information. And on page 12 is the income statement for the subject property. So the model NOI is supported by the subject properties NOI. The model cap rate is supported by the market. So I ask that you maintain the assessed value at $2,741,000.
Thank you. Brian, any questions?
I have no questions.
Linda?
No question.
And
No questions, thank you.
hey, Ryan, you can start your presentation.
Okay, so the subject property at 33 Nova Vista Drive, roll number 08-00556-0000, file number 22-2509. Going on to page 4 of my brief, so it appears that the assessor has described the property accurately, so I'm going to skip over that. And just make my way to my income workup. On page 9, you can see here that the EGI we've applied is based on the actual in 2020 of $281,405. Given our stabilized expenses here, $151,181, we come in very close to the city's net operating income of $130,000 or $190. We are using an NOI of $130,224. So it appears that the main contention here is the cap rate. So going on to page 8, we applied a base cap rate of 5.5%. Plus the adjustments for building type and construction, garden style, wood frame construction, each building having its own hot water tank and HVAC units. So there is much more to maintain for any owner. The parking ratio is 1.25 to 1, which is considered adequate. And again, referring to the supply and demand, the saturation of newer apartments, we applied a cap rate of 5.75%, and this brings us to our final value of $2,265,000.
Thank you very much. Kim, any questions?
No questions.
Linda?
No question.
No questions, thank you.
And I have no questions. So that concludes 33 Nova Vista. The last one on the docket today is 24 Arden. Let's get there. Okay, Kim, you can start your presentation.
Okay, the subject property is 24 Arden. Excuse me. The roll number is 080-040-149-00. It's a residential apartment block that's 4 stories high. It was built in 1978 and it has 43 suites with 48 outdoor parking stalls. On page 3 is our income valuation summary. We use average rents of $998 to get a potential income of $515,000. We use a 3.2% vacancy to get an effective gross income of $498,000. And we used the 47% expense ratio to get a net operating income of $262,000. Kept at 5%, we have an estimated market value of $5,254,000. On page 4 are rent comparables, showing that the rent reviews are in line with what's in the market. On page 5 is a summary of the income and expenses for the subject property. Their income for 2020 was $516,000. Removing some interest income, their income is $515,170. Their expenses are $325,000, but that included some mortgage expense. So removing that, the operating expenses are $244,000, giving an NOI of $270,000, which supports the model's $262,000 NOI. On page 8 and 6 and 7 is information on how we derive our cap rates and some cap rate sales. Page 8 and 9 is the Maltis cap rate information. On page 11 is the income statement for the subject property. So the actual performance of the subject property supports the model, and I ask that you maintain the assessed value at $5,254,000.
Thank you very much. Ryan, any questions?
I have no questions.
Linda?
And I have no question.
Doug?
No questions from me, thank you.
And I have no questions. So Ryan, you're up next.
Okay. So the subject property at 24 Arden Avenue, roll number 08-00401490, file number 22-2243. So this Mr. Wong had described the property or sorry, there's a difference with, I guess, the suite mix here, but the description of the property has been accurate. We have 13 one-bedroom suites and 32 bedroom suites. Mr. Wong, I believe, has 11 one-bedroom suites and 12 two-bedroom suites. Most likely,
No,
32 two-bedroom suites, thank you. Possible. But possibly a negligible impact here. So just to make a point on that, going on to page 9 of my brief. We've applied the actuals for the gross potential rents, $498,322. Applied the city's vacancy rate of 3.2%. And adding the laundry, parking income, and miscellaneous income, we come up with an EGI of $407,089. And we have stabilized our expenses here. Total expenses equaling $236,386, very close to the city. And our final NOI is also very close to the stabilized NOI that the assessor has done on page 5 of his brief. The difference again, major difference here being the cap rate. Based on the age and number of stories of the subject, we've applied a cap rate of 5.5%. No adjustments. This is your typical, this is your standard apartment here. And this brings us to a final value of $4,922,000. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Cam, any questions?
I just wanted to maybe look at page 19. Just with regards to the suite mix, it seems to indicate that I guess maybe what we have on record is correct.
Yeah, I missed that part. I will update our records for that. But I believe we still match the potential rent that they're applying for that they reported for 2020. So
yeah.
Thank you.
That's everything.
Just one comment, but this document was never certified by anybody.
Which document?
The one on page 19.
Oh, yes. So that is because through electronic submissions, Mr. Wong, correct me if I'm wrong, once it's submitted electronically, it's deemed to be certified at that point.
I'm not sure. What do you mean by certified?
Well, there's no signature at the bottom.
Okay. I'm actually not sure about that, but yeah, usually the person, in order to submit any sort of income and expenses, they need to be able to log into our system. In order to log into our system, they need to have, I guess, the ID in order to do it, and usually the property owners have that. But yeah, in this particular case, I guess they can't sign. They just click a button that says submit.
Okay, fair enough.
And on page 16, you can see here too that on the income and expense summary that the 2020 income and expense was submitted.
Yep. Okay. And your presentation. No, we just had it, sorry.
It's been a long one.
Okay, now it's time for me to wrap this up. We have heard all the items scheduled today, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.